Do you want to know the financial industry's big secret? I used to work as a financial advisor. I oversaw over $100 million of investments across 5 advisors, and I doubled my income after 1 year to then go and more than double my income again the next year, making well over $100,000 in my 20s. Yeah, I know I look like I'm in my 20s right now, but I'm not. $100 million isn't a lot of money in the grand scheme of things, but I was on the inside, and you as a customer don't get to see this side of things. Say you're starting out looking for an advisor and you've got your $30,000 saved. That money would pay him maybe 70% of the 1% advisor fee you pay. You're charged 1%, and then the institution gets their cut, there's custodian fees, etc., and the advisor gets the rest. This is on top of your mutual fund or ETF fees going to an investment firm or bank. So $210 from $30,000 goes to your advisor every year. I'm using $30,000 as the example because that's a very respectable amount to have saved up starting out. But of course, you could have more than or less than that amount saved. The math works the same. It's pretty safe to assume he makes around 0.7% every year on the money you have invested with them. So he'll want to make at least $100,000 per year. Many advisors and planners make over $200,000 a year. So you're paying him 1/500th of his salary at best. Given he works 40 hours a week for 50 weeks, that's 2,000 hours each year. You'll probably see many are taking a lot more than 2 weeks vacation though. Golf balls aren't going to hit themselves. So your slice of his salary, 1/500th, comes out to 4 hours of his time, but that's if all his time is spent serving clients. It's actually less than half that time if he's doing things properly and listening to industry consultants, because they're all telling him that he should cut that back and spend most of his time prospecting for new clients. Because how does he make more money faster? He brings in more accounts from other clients to up his overall book of business. So if you're lucky, you have him spending 90 minutes to 2 hours each year on your hypothetical account of $30,000. But you have meetings and calls with him where he's busy talking with you. What if those are already 90 minutes? That doesn't leave much time at all for him to, do the professional work of managing your money. The work was done to set up and onboard your accounts, and now what? The ideal client for him doesn't dig too deep or have much in the way of expectations, and thus the advisor doesn't really have to do much going forward. He can flip through some papers and talk about performance. He can say things are looking good and going according to the plan. He can chat about the kids and hobbies and whatever, and charge that 1% every year. Or my personal favorite, from one advisor, not at my office thankfully, clients would continue to complain that he would spend the majority of the time grumbling about his divorce and his ex-wife. Now that's professional service. But here's how they fix it and pay for more time, or get you to pay for more of their time. If that meeting time isn't really about your investments, but is actually a sales call to convince you to buy a product, an expensive investment fund, an insurance product, especially whole life insurance, which could easily make him $2,000, then it could be all worth it to him. Wait, your annual review is a sales call? Yeah. The vast majority of financial advisors are not professionals with fiduciary duty, meaning they have the legal obligation to do what is in your best interest. Most are salespeople who offer investment funds, insurance, and whatever else to make themselves money. So the face-to-face time they spend with you is best spent trying to upsell you another product. And sprinkle in some reports to make you think they're slaving away, focus on your money so that you stay on as a client. Even better than selling a product though, maybe the meeting can turn into just a prospecting call, trying to figure out if you have family or friends who will also invest with them. Then it could definitely be worth it to him. My name is Brandon, by the way. I have my master's degree in finance, and I want to see everyone succeed financially. This is why I struggle so much knowing the inside of the financial industry, trying to recommend advisors to people who ask me. Because you're not worth their time. Not the good ones anyways, and the only way they can make it worth it is to underserve you or to talk you into buying a product that makes them money and may not be in your best interest. Do you ultimately need that product? Doesn't matter. They don't have a fiduciary duty, a legal obligation. What matters is that they get their commission and that they end up with a good salary at the end of the year. It's also an industry that is, how do I say this? On the outside, it looks like it's a professional industry, like engineering or medicine, professionals with rigorous professional qualifications. That's not what I've seen. Here's a story to highlight exactly this. From the biggest bank in the second biggest city of Canada, the branch manager of the wealth management division bragged that one of his top performers didn't even finish high school. It was meant as a, see, anyone can make it if they got what it takes. And what exactly does it take? Building a good network and being able to sell to it really well. Next time I go see my doctor, it won't be too important that she actually finished medical school, as long as she can convince me that she's the one for the job and that my friends also like her. Professional qualifications, years of study, nice to have, I guess, but not necessary. It's just the only body that I'll be in for the rest of my life. It's just my life savings, all the money I've made that I'll be entrusting to this advisor. If you can sell well, dress in a nice suit, that's great. And oh yeah, the studying, you can spend a few weeks studying and then write a quick exam to call yourself a financial advisor at most places. So that's reassuring. But on the outside, not knowing what a good financial advisor is supposed to look like, how do we even start to grade someone on if they'll do well for us? Maybe last year they made a lot of money for a particular client, 15% they say. Well, was that luck? Or was it taking on a lot of risk that may blow up in a future year? Or was that in a year like 2024 where the market did 24%? So maybe they're actually lagging behind considerably. Unfortunately, this isn't like medicine, a profession where we can trust the vast majority of doctors to be real professionals. It's flipped on its head. Sure, there are bad doctors, some get sued for malpractice, but in finance, the salesperson parading as a financial professional is the norm. And then sure, there are some real financial professionals sprinkled on top. Okay, so what do you do? Well, first, the other scenario is that you don't just have $30,000 to invest. Maybe you have $700,000 or more. A real big nest egg for retirement. That's better. Now you can make the advisor $5,000 a year. That's worth at least 20 hours at work. Some actual planning can now go into a portfolio that size, and the business doesn't have to rely on upselling more products. But the reality is, most advisors will do both. Get your $5,000 and try to push products. That's what I've seen anyways. And it makes business sense. Why rely on prospecting new clients when you can upsell more easily to your existing ones? Anyways, with $700,000 or more saved up, you'll be able to get more advisors to answer their phone because you'll be worth more of their time as a client. And hopefully you'll stumble across an advisor with fiduciary duty who isn't just grow, but is content managing 100 households, all with high wealth, and managing them well. How do you find them? Ask directly about their legal obligations to you, what kinds of licensing they have, what kinds of commissions they could earn from you. And please stop using years of experience as the strongest metric on whether they'll be a good advisor or not. That just means they have a longer history of convincing others to invest with them. Why not ask about their actual education? Do they have a proper designation, like CFA or CFP? Not just the ones that take a month and $500 to get. Before I continue on, I'd like to give a special thanks to the supporter of this video, my chair. I don't remember the brand at all, but it's been a reliable support to me for years. I could have stood to record this video, and that may have been healthier, but that could have also been tiring. So thank you to my chair for being a great support, and yeah, now back to the video. Okay, so the previous scenario is when you're seeking an advisor and already have lots of money. What do you do when you're young, starting out, and don't have hundreds of thousands saved up? I see only two good options, but people don't really like them, which is why the financial industry gets to continue on as it is. Number one, learn yourself and invest in a low-cost option. This doesn't actually have to be complicated for most people if you don't make it complicated. Or number two, hire a professional planner, pay them directly, and then invest in a low-cost option. How can I say it's not complicated? Because here's the setup, the whole enchilada for most people. Figure out your savings rate. Let's say you plan to save 15% of your total income. And what luck, your workplace already offers a 3% matching scheme. So 3% of your paycheck goes to a retirement account at work, along with 3% employer contribution. That gets you up to 6%, and then you need to save an additional 9%. Spend a little bit of brain power and research, figuring out if it should be in a 401k or Roth IRA. In Canada, the decision is usually between a TFSA and an RSP. Then set up the accounts. Set up automatic deposits every month, choose a growth mutual fund, or better yet, a low-cost index growth fund. And then let it accumulate for 30 years until retirement. And maybe 25 years in, take a bit of time to make sure your ducks are in a row to retire in 5 years. Sound like a bit too much, or not confident you'll catch all the details? That's what option number two is for. Pay a licensed financial planner $1,000 to $3,000 for their expertise, and they'll draft up a plan for you to follow. Then go and set up your accounts as per their instructions, opting for low fee options, and let it run for 30 years. Any complications come up, pay a planner again to help figure out your new situation. How does this fix the financial advisor math from before? You are paying the planner directly for their time. That's why it's $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 out of pocket. and that buys the hours needed to build a comprehensive plan. Sound like a lot? It feels that way, but it's actually less than you would spend with a financial advisor. Far less. You're saving money, but it doesn't seem that way. So here's the math on that. Let's say it's the top end, $3,000 for a comprehensive plan to get your retirement savings started, and $3,000 again, a little ahead of retirement, to plan taking money from your accounts effectively once you retire. This gives you the plan to go and enact on your own, not needing the advisor and the 1% advisor fee every year. The other option is you pay the advisor every year, that small 1%, and hope they give you enough of their time and don't sell you products that you don't need to make their commissions. Starting with $30,000, you pay your advisor a fee of $300 in that first year. With your portfolio growing 5% on average, and assuming you add $500 every month to it, after 30 years, your portfolio has grown to $433,812. And in that last year, you paid your advisor 1%, which is $4,338.12. And you paid them all along every year, totaling $60,291. This is compared to paying $3,000 at the beginning and then $3,000 again right before retirement. And let's say there are 3 other times you want to pay a planner directly, for whatever reason. That's still just $15,000 total compared to $60,000 for an advisor, to spend just a couple hours a year, at best, looking over your accounts. If it was truly better service, maybe the $60,000 could be worth it to some. The reality of the situation, how the financial advisor math plays out, says it probably isn't. And how the industry is set up to reward good salespeople and not raise up professionals, says you'll probably get stuck with one of these good salespeople all along. The other 2 options, learning and investing on your own or paying a qualified planner for each financial plan, don't sound great. But against the alternative of throwing yourself into a sham of a profession, I don't like the sound of that. Was this video helpful or not? Give me a thumbs up or down to let me know. Was this depressing or insightful? Hopefully more of the latter. And if there's a part of the financial industry you'd like to hear more on, please post a question for a future video in the comments. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great one.